Biomutant review. Here we go. We played it on the Xbox Series X, and before we get through the review, the very first thing that I want to say is thank you very much again to Crown EED, the name that you can see right there. He gifted the game for review purposes, and if he didn't gift it, we wouldn't have been able to get the review done. So a massive shout out to him. Thank you very much for the game. Greatly appreciate it. It's definitely helped out to get another review done for this year. So Biomutant, I don't own the case. It's pretty much just the downloaded again that we did. It was only 13.6 gig large, and that immediately, you know, kind of concerned me because it's an open world experience and it's only 13.6 gig large. That's tiny for an open world experience, in my opinion. Game developed by THQ Nordic. Digital price $54.99. You can get the physical copy for £50. And if I would have bought it from Shop 2, it would have been $45. So luckily we actually got it cheaper than all of that because it was gifted through CD Keys, I think. Was it Crown that you got it from? So again, thank you. Oh, G2A. Well, thank you. Before we go through a mountain of notes, we're going to go through the breakdown analysis in the same way that we do any other game, just to make it as fair as possible. So if you've been watching my videos all the time, you know exactly what we look for. The very first thing is choice of music used, audio, effects, and voice acting. So the choice of music used, I am not going to lie, I seriously did dig the soundtrack that they used for this game. The open world music was very relaxing, very enjoyable, and that's something that is quite crucial with an open world experience. You don't want a song or a background audio loop to just play the same garbage and just get repetitive very quickly and get very annoying. It does repeat, but it's the melody in it itself is really enjoyable, and it didn't irritate the hell out of me. But the only thing that I will say regarding the soundtrack is I don't like the fact that when you enter buildings, it plays a different song. When you step out of that building, it plays the other song, and you can kind of mess with it. I don't think that should have been a thing whatsoever. I think that's actually it got to a point where that itself then became annoying, because you could, every time I opened a door and walked into a building, it would play a high tune melody instead, and then when I stepped out, it would play the open world music, and when I went into a building, it played the high melody again, and it was just rinse repeat, and it's just like, come on, why was this even a thing? You know, it should never ever do something like that, in my honest opinion. And that in itself is going against the review, because I just don't think that should have ever have been a thing. Your character enters buildings really quickly, in and out, looting all the time, and you're messing with the soundtrack pretty much, because it's playing the two different soundtracks one by one. It's just juggling them over and over again, and that in itself became annoying. The audio effects in the game itself, though, the guns, the explosions, the combats, the weapons that you're using, the animals, the creatures, the environment that you actually get to mingle with, I can't fault any of it. It was very childlike in a sense, and I know this game's a PEGI 12. But the animals were very cutesy-wootsy. They were very colorful and adorable looking, and they made squeaky animal sounds, and all of that was adorable. The only gripe that I have, and this is mainly just a personal opinion for me, is that the game there is a narrator that voices throughout the entire game. It's non-stop, start to finish, unless you go into the options and you alter the frequency in which the narrator is talking. You can lower that if you find that he's talking all the time, and you can increase that if you want more of it. I would advise turning him down, because he says the same shit all the time, every single time. And we put a lot of time into this game. 5 days of streaming this particular title, And the narrator ended up repeating himself hundreds and hundreds of times. It's just the same shit over and over and over again. And that got pretty annoying pretty fast. I don't even understand why he's talking so much and why there was even an option to turn him to lower that or increase the amount of times that should just never be a freaking thing at all, in my opinion. But something that I'm actually going to note for the review, and it will affect the scoring as well, is that the animals that you interact with, they all have their own voice, and yet the narrator speaks for them. And that in itself, I think, is one of its biggest faults. Because not only do you have to listen to them talk, you then have to wait for the narrator to translate it. So you're hearing the same thing twice, technically. One in the animal language and one in the narrator language, which doubles the time it takes to get through talking to NPCs. And you're sitting there half the time going, oh my god, blah 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 blah, because the talking is just unfucking real. In my honest opinion, I feel that the animals, as they were all given voices, I think they should have all just spoken English, or the default language of the game wherever you're playing it around the world. I don't mind the narrator talking every now and again, but I would love to have had a conversation with the actual NPCs, character to character, because that to me builds up an emotional connection with that person. And obviously my reviews are all spoiler free, and there is a very, very traumatic event that happens within the game itself. And I felt, because of the narrator talking through it, it killed the emotion really bad. I felt that the animals around the world, they should have all been given their own voice. You know, let them have their own voice and let them speak to my character. And then the narrator can then whip, you know, his funny little quips or his little story parts he could have spoken outside of talking to that character, or after I grab the quest, he can then say something about the quest. And I think that would have done much better for the game. Like, in a long sense, it would have been way more efficient, because you're cutting down the dialogue between your character and them. So you're saving some time already. But like I said, it builds that connection between the player and the person that they're speaking to, instead of the narrator having to translate everything that they're saying. That's just my personal opinion on it all. But I'd like to know what you guys think. So leave it in the comments down below and we'll chat about it. Graphics, texturing, weather effects. Graphically, this game is beautiful. And it took me by surprise. Like I said, 13.66 gig large. The map is massive. There are so many areas that you can go to, and the coloring that they used is beautiful and vibrant and in depth, and the shadowing, the light effects, like I said, the animals look amazing. Your character design and all the loot that you can pick up, which all has a massive variety of coloring in it. It's absolutely so well done. I can't fault any aspect around the color of this game. I thought it looked absolutely amazing, even through the day cycles and the night cycles, and the effects as well, with my magic, my lightning, ice, fire, all of those effects looked absolutely fantastic. The fire burning in the ground. So yeah, I can't fault it. I can't. I do like the fact that they did do a day and night cycle. Some open world games do it very, very well. Some don't. Some do it more realistically, where it takes a long time to go from day to night. Like a really, really long time. But you can actually affect it within the game itself by sitting at a camp, and you can rest your character if you wish to a certain point, either within the daytime or within the nighttime. So graphics, I can't fault them at all. And around texturing and weather effects, there is weather effects within this game itself. There is also particle effects that they utilize as well. like biohazard, radiation, pollution, smoke. It all looks absolutely fantastic and all well done. The snow looked great, the rain looked great, and the effect that it had on the camera when it was raining, I loved that little touch. I thought that was really, really cool. So good job on that. Glitches and bugs. I'm not gonna lie, there weren't many. We had a few NPCs getting stuck into like walls or jittering every now and again, but none of that was game breaking. We did manage to soft lock the game though. We actually had a NPC that wasn't where he was supposed to be. We had to shut down the entire game and reboot the game just to make him reappear. I'm pretty sure that they will find that and patch that and fix that going forward. But that should never, ever, ever, ever be a thing. You should never have to force the player to shut his game down or her game down just to fix an issue within the coding of the game to make an NPC appear. That's a bit shit. I also want to make it very, very, very clear that during the review on day 2, they sent down a very large patch for this game to fix a lot of the bugs that were within the game. You can go onto Google and just look at the patch notes if you want to. So this review is catering to the updated and patched version of the game up until this point, up until this date, which is the 13th of the 6th, 2021. Gameplay and mechanics. This game utilizes a lot of mechanics from other open world experience games that I've even played myself. Two very noticeable ones would be Fable and Breath of the Wild. The climbing, the gliding that you do when you get your little glider out as well. The magic effects, the combat effects itself. So the game uses a lot of features that have been utilized in other open world games that you might even see yourself. And it works pretty freaking well. I'm not gonna lie, I do feel that there was a lack of magic. You got very basic magic spells. Fire, lightning, ice were all cool effects, and shooting little lightning bolts as well, which became very comedic at times, especially when you see the NPC electrocuted on the spot and making funny noises. But I felt they could have done a lot more around the magic. They could have done, for example, wind magic, twisters. They could have allowed me to throw ice projectiles at the enemies itself instead of it just being a ground attack, or summoning meteorites to come down. Depending on your path, whether you choose the light side or the dark side, like kind of like a Star Wars little thing there, you can buy additional spells to help your playthrough itself, and some of them are very, very powerful. The telekinesis ability that I saw, but I didn't get to use that one because my first playthrough was a goody character. I was all holy and faithful and honorable, and I tried to save everyone, protect everyone. You can alter the way that the game plays out itself by choosing which path you want to go down to, and this itself plays massively in this game. Even at the very beginning of the game, the narrator and the story pans out and it tells you, every decision that you make will have a positive or negative consequence to it. So, the replayability aspect in that sense is absolutely enormous. It is massive. It really is. You could pretty much do 2 massive playthroughs, one a good guy and one a bad, murderous kitty cat. So it's completely up to you how you play this game. We got the good ending, I'm hoping. But I'm not going to say much about what I did because, again, I don't want to poke into spoilers because, again, this is a spoiler-free review. So in terms of replayability and game difficulty, there is a shocking amount of replayability. Like, absolutely massive. So have fun with that. Have fun. There are so many quests that you can do. So many of them having humorous cliches or even humorous references to movies and games. We had a Die Hard Yippee-Ki-Yay reference in there. We had a Finish Him Mortal Kombat reference in there as well. There are many, many, many references in this game, and I love finding them. I really do. I enjoy finding stuff like that. So again, good job on doing stuff like that, because it always humors my inner nerdy geekiness when I see a gaming reference or a movie reference within a game. Game difficulty, I'm not gonna lie, the very first two big bosses that we fought were a little bit challenging. The third one was stupidly easy, like ridiculous. It's like the difficulty just went straight downhill. They might have to balance that third boss depending on which one you go to. Of course, I'm not gonna say which one it is because again, I don't want to spoil it. But I will say the one that you fight in the the submarine was ridiculously easy compared to all the other big bosses that you fight. Like really easy. Game customization and stats building. This game is an RPG, so it plays massively in the stats and statistics of the game itself. Your entire character is built around stats: strength, magic, agility, charisma, luck. There's armor, gear that caters to that as well, and even have resistances within them, like fire resistance, ice resistance, biohazard resistance, and stuff like that. And there are certain areas that you can't go to unless you have a resistant in that area. And a good example would be the fiery area, that if you're not protected against heat, your character will just die. The heat bar will go up, and if it goes up to maximum, your health just zip, straight down and it kills you. But again, there are suits, there are heat suits, cold suits, pollution suits that you can find within the game when you do the quests, and those suits will allow you to then be able to explore those regions without dying, without dying a horrible death. So farming for loot is a must. Doing the side quests for those outfits are also a must if you want to do, let's say, a 100% playthrough of the game, because you're going to need those resistances, like I said. You level up as you go throughout the game, and you can apply one level up point to a certain stat that you want to master or push up. And you could also do a ton of customization within the game, within the armors, and also within the weapons that you can build. There is so much that you can do around making your character as unique as possible. It's absolutely amazing. It truly is. I mean, the amount of loot that you come across is... it's like Borderlands. It's like, open something, there's a new item. Open this, there's another one. It's crazy. And I'm a loot whore. I love collecting stuff. I like to try and have one of everything if I can do. There is a lot of loot. So good luck trying to, manage it all and find it all. Story, if applicable. The story is unique. Could have had far more emotion in it at certain parts, and I think the only way that could have been a thing is if the characters themselves spoke to you instead of the narrator taking over the conversations. And I think that's his, like I said, I think that's his biggest freaking downfall. I really do. I thought the story was fantastic. It played out really well, and it's definitely going to cater to people who really enjoy being environmentally friendly as well, because this game has a massive climate message in the game itself about looking after Mother Earth, looking after the planet, recycling, because that's what you're doing. You're breaking items down and you're rebuilding them, you're recycling them over and over and over and over again. So this game definitely has a green message to it, massively. You can see how a planet is dying around the pollutions, the toxins that are in the earth as well, and you can see oil puddles everywhere. And I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't overdo it. It was just, I would say, in the acceptable level. If it would have kept pushing it as hard as it did, then it might have become a little bit annoying. But I agree with the message that it's trying to point across, and I enjoy what it is trying to do. So I can't fault it, and I really enjoyed the story. Online co-op modes, features, and stability, not applicable. Could this game have been a much better game if it was co-op? Hell yes. It would have been wicked. It would have been really, 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 really cool. And before you say, oh, well, it can't be done because of decisions and choices and stuff like that, it can do. Because Far Cry does it. Far Cry has the same sort of thing. There are, you know, other open world games that have decision making that are also co-op as well. So yes, it could have been doable. It could have been doable. Purchase price, digital price, and value of content. My purchase price would have been £44, and that's what I'm going to be judging this review on. Would I have been happy with that price? Yes. Do I feel this is a £55 game? No. That's a bit too high. In my opinion, that's a bit too high. £45, I think, is the maximum level, even the digital version should have been no higher than 45, in my honest opinion. Microtransactions. Ooh, were there any microtransactions? Just quickly check. See in store. No. No, there isn't. There isn't any in-store extra purchases, and thank God for that. And thank God they didn't do it as a pay-to-win game as well, where you could buy super duper deluxe weapons and ruin the whole experience. So thank God for that. Okay. This is the chance for me to go through my notes. Everything that I've written down, it may be some repeats to what I've already said, but it's just to add to the review and add a little bit more content to the review itself. The very first thing that I wrote down is I would rather have conversations with the animals myself and not have the narrator translate. That is a big solid blow in my opinion. I love watching cartoon animals or animated animals talk. It's just, in my opinion, it's a missed opportunity. That's just my opinion. Talking about the rain effects and the fire effects, we've already talked about that. I'm not saying that one because that's a spoiler. Oh, great. I was playing this game on the Xbox Series X. The loading times between teleporting between one destination and another was freaking awesome. It wasn't bad in any way. I thought they did a great job with that. I'm not going to say that because that's a spoiler. Oh, there is a photo mode available during the game itself. You can just push I think you push the analogs outwards, and then you can activate photo mode within the game itself. Always love photo mode, because if something epic is on the screen and you're like, I want to save that picture for my desktop or something, or send it to a friend, then you can do it. The good and bad yin yang consequences in an open world, we've already talked about that. Day and night cycles, we've already talked about that. A Fallout crafting system, basically that's the best way of describing it. The way that you make and create weapons within the game is very much like a Fallout game, where you can build it from scratch. Repetitive dialogue, way to abuse. Yeah, I've already said that. My save image was damaged from the very beginning. And I asked a friend as well who's playing this game, and their main save file was broken for some reason. God knows, again, a simple patch will fix that, but I don't know why that's even a thing. You're still rewarded even if you lose in the flashbacks. I think that's a good idea because some of the fights were really hard. The music resetting each time you enter and leave a building. I've already spoken about that. Could have done with a better variety of enemies. There are okay, so in some of the areas of the games that you go to, in the game itself, you will notice that you end up fighting similar monsters that they're just skinned differently. I think they could have just boosted the variety of monsters just a little bit more, because it got too obvious in certain areas. So you're like, you know, I've already fought you 1,000 times, I've fought you 1,000 times. You're just the same enemy, but a different color. You know, just a little bit more variety in enemies would have been nice. Lacking magic spells, I do agree on that. The fact that we soft locked the game, that should never have been a thing. All the rest I'm not going to say, because if I say any of the rest, it would lead to spoilers. And I've kind of scratched on a few of those things during this actual review itself. So that's pretty much everything that I've written down. So all it piles down to now is, would I recommend this, and what would I give it as a rating? Would I recommend this game? Yes, in a heartbeat. I thought this game was brilliant to play. I had so much fun with it, and again, I just want to make it very clear that I am incredibly grateful to receive a copy of this to review. So thank you again, Crown. I would have been happy to pay the £45, no more than that, to be fair. It would have been nice if this game did land on Game Pass at some point, so people get to experience this, because I feel it is a game that people will love to play. So, would I make a suggestion in people playing this game if they enjoy games like Fable, Skyrim, Fallout? Oh, hell, 100% yes. In my opinion, yes. What would I rate it out of 10? You've heard what I've had to say. The crippling blow for me, as I said already, is the narrator talking all the goddamn time and talking for the animals themselves, which I think is, that should not be a thing. That's just my opinion. The soft locking of the game should have never have been a thing as well. The fact that we had to shut the game down just to make it work properly that's stupid. And I did skim through some of the patch notes and did see a lot of the fixes that they rolled down, and I'm grateful that they were able to roll that update down as fast as possible. So thank you for doing that. I'm happy scoring Biomutant, in my opinion, a healthy 8.5 out of 10. I think it is a justified score. I really do. And I'm going to enjoy playing it in my spare time to finish off all the small side quests that I haven't done. I've did so much quests. When I checked them over on the map, they were just picking up small items. They weren't nothing major. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved running around the map with the variety of mounts that you could get. I thought they were very, very creative in so many aspects of this game, including the customization options, the mutation options, the power options, and there is just so much that you can do in this game. It's just great. It's great. So I feel 8.5 out of 10 is a justified score, in my opinion. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the YouTube comments down below, because I would love to chat about it. I would. But thank you again for the support that you guys have given me throughout my streaming career and my recording career. So just thank you very much. Wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care.